Super Mario Party Jamboree is out, and their developers, the newly renamed Nintendo Cube, seem to have created their best received original Mario Party title yet. Well, best received except for the odd outlier. But who are Nintendo Cube? Why are they so important to Nintendo? And what do the credits of their recent games show about their development capabilities, and especially the likelihood of future games on the Nintendo Switch and its successor? We're going to look at the company history and study the names of the people behind the games to see what is the deal with the loyal group of developers known as Nintendo Cube. First of all then, let's get a bit of background on exactly who this company is. For many years, the Mario Party series was shepherded not by Nintendo Cube, but by Hudson Soft, but that company had a very rocky journey, including massive losses linked to the bankruptcy of their main bank, Takashoku Bank, in 1998. They responded by becoming a public company, and Konami quickly became their largest investor. Until this point, Hudson had been independent, but they did have quite a few links with Nintendo. Notably, Hiroshi Ikeda founded a company called Mario Company Limited in 1991, with a funding 51% from Nintendo and 49% by Tokyo-based advertising firm Dentsu. However, Hudson Soft was struggling through the early 2000s with several losses, both financial and in terms of personnel, notably losing Bomberman creator Shinichi Nakamoto. In April 2005, Konami held over 50% of Hudson Soft shares, and in April 2011, Hudson Soft became a wholly owned subsidiary of Konami, a process which involved liquidating Hudson Soft's American division. Meanwhile, Nintendo had set up another partnership with Dentsu, this one called Nintendo Dentsu Cube, or ND Cube, and originally they stated their intent was to make software for mobile game machines, which at the time meant Game Boy Advance. However, their list of briefs was actually very wide. They also listed their objective as being an internet solutions business, and they advertised early on for a network programmer dedicated to, and I quote, constructing and programming of server systems for network games and server systems for electric commerce. It seems that the notion of an online store and a subsidiary dedicated to creating Nintendo's network service may have been at least a glimmer in the eye of the top brass at Nintendo long before their partnership with DNA led to the creation of the relatively new Nintendo Systems subsidiary. A further objective was producing picture and music software and creating fun applications. Certainly it was an eclectic brief. Nintendo at this time owned 78% of the stock, with Dentsu owning just 13%. It was run by two longtime Nintendo employees, Takahiro Izushi, now retired but once a general manager of Nintendo, and Hitoshi Yamagami, a longtime F-Zero producer who is now also a general manager of the Entertainment Planning and Development Department. The first project was on a series both men had some previous affinity for. Specifically, they worked on F-Zero Maximum Velocity, although an interview with the producer Yamagami-san revealed that this was not necessarily the plan all along. He explained, "At first Nintendo was considering if we could make the game in-house. However, no matter what the game is, there's always a lack of human resources, so we had to look for someone to collaborate with on the game. Having assessed that, we began early talks with ND Cube, who had, by chance, done the F-Zero demo. Then, Shimizu was assigned as director over a team of ND Cube staff, and over the period of a year, the game was developed." However, ND Cube had a turbulent early period, with many of its developers reportedly leaving for Sony, Square Enix, or even to join Nintendo's internal studios, perhaps linked to their R&D projects being rejected by Nintendo in the main. Still, in August 2010, Nintendo purchased all of the Dentsu shares, becoming a 98% owner in the company and attracting many ex-employees from Hudson Soft who were affected by the Konami acquisition, including perhaps most significantly long-time Mario Party director Shuichiro Nishiya, who had worked on every Mario Party since the second one and so had a very long-established working relationship with Nintendo. Nishiya-san would go on to be the president of Nintendo Cube and remains so to this day. ND Cube's first game after a 7-year hiatus in terms of creating original games content was the 2010 Wii Party title, and they proved to still be able to put together party games. As far as Nintendo were concerned, the Konami acquisition of Hudson Soft meant that 2007's Mario Party 8 would be the final party to be thrown by Hudson Soft, and in fact, despite the Wii's success as a console, particularly in the casual space, there was nearly a 5-year gap before the next Mario Party was launched, this time under NDQ. With 2 offices in Tokyo and Sapporo, the company has very recently updated its name to reflect the fact that Nintendo is their major patron, being now Nintendo Cube. This aside, in recent years the company has remained relatively stable, with 118 staff in 2018 and 120 in 2024, and having fallen into a regular cadence of game releases, with Mario Party games releasing for the Switch in 3 yearly increments, 2018, 2021 and 2024, and other party-themed titles releasing roughly 18 months between 2020's Clubhouse Games and 2023's Everybody Want to Switch. The company retains a diverse portfolio of tasks, including developing video information and audio software and network-related tasks, according to its website. Indeed, they were critical in developing Animal Crossing Pocket Camp for mobile in 2017. A look at the credits suggests that this level of productivity was not a case of them having split teams, or at least not at first. Nearly all the staff from Super Mario Party went to work on Clubhouse Games. Nearly everybody from Clubhouse Games progressed to Mario Party Superstars. However, Everybody Want to Switch was a slightly different case, being a game that was contracted out of EPT4. Just over 40 of the Mario Party Superstars staff went on to work on that game, and a tinier number still had also worked on Clubhouse Games. Having remained a cohesive unit for the early years of the Switch, it appeared that a change had begun to happen. Now, I think looking at the games in question, it's fairly obvious why this might be. Mario Party Superstars was not a wholly original game, and utilised remakes of boards from prior titles. An 18-month schedule for a title like this was probably quite reasonable, but Jamboree was to be a whole different matter, with huge amounts of content dwarfing 2018's Super Mario Party in scale. It makes sense that while Nintendo Cube were able to offer some small degree of support to EPT4 on a title, their major efforts needed to be on the 3-year Jamboree project. And the Jamboree credits pour some cold water on the prospects of yet another expansion. Of the credits for game design, programming and the key art leads, well over 2/3 are veterans of Superstars. This suggests that the group is still relatively cohesive. It should also be said that the most notable divergence is in the Mario Party Superstars game design team, with 1/3 of that team not coming over to Jamboree in similar roles, almost exclusively the Everybody Want to Switch people. With 18 months separating the release of Everybody Want to Switch and Super Mario Party Jamboree, one might expect the Everybody Want to Switch staff to have returned to the fold in more senior roles for Jamboree, especially since Everybody Want to Switch was strongly rumoured to have been completed a significant period ahead of time. Therefore, it does seem likely that there remains a second-string team that may be continuing to work on something else. But these are not consisting of the mainline team of Mario Party developers, which makes me think it's unlikely that they're trying to bootstrap the next Mario Party into being, in which case, as we see for example with Fire Emblem, we might see a better balance between senior development staff working on the current and future games. So, what does all this mean for Nintendo Cube's future? Mario Party has always been a good seller for Nintendo, but the Switch era has seen truly stratospheric numbers for the franchise, with Super Mario Party crossing 20 million to become the 8th best-selling title on the platform, 4/5 of the way to Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. That's absolutely staggering to me, and so while Nintendo Cube's regular rhythm of game releases would point to 2027 as the next date for a Mario Party to drop, I have to wonder whether Nintendo will want to wait that long. Now, partly this of course depends on the release date for the next console, but either way, let's assume that 2027 is going to be that console's 3rd holiday season, a holiday season that, with the Switch, was marked by the release of a light version of the console, which didn't particularly suit Mario Party, with which it was not 100% compatible. Of course, making 4K games is potentially even more time-consuming for the company as well, so in this sense 2027 might be optimistic if it takes them longer than 3 years to make the next game. Still, I do feel like there is incentive for Nintendo to have their cubed collaborators clear their schedule for the next Mario Party, and without a dedicated team on a secondary title like Everybody Want to Switch, and potentially with more of a focus on reusing past boards, which clearly expedited the development of Superstars, there is the potential for a 2026 Mario Party title to be created. Then again, perhaps Nintendo wouldn't want to risk oversaturating the market by releasing another Mario Party so soon. Sure, the 3DS had a title the year before Super Mario Party released, but that was a very different kind of system, whereas it's very likely they will want Switch games to continue to sell on the successor, and certainly Jamboree is not a half-hearted late system title, but is clearly designed as a holiday sales anchor. Of course, Nintendo would also take the view that while Mario Party is valuable to them, there are more ways that Nintendo Cube could be of benefit to the company. Having a casual party title like Wii Party or Clubhouse games could, for low cost, open up different markets than the kind of people who stick to the Mario branding. And with Animal Crossing Pocket Camp being closed down, the potential remains that the company could be working on a successor to that app. Given the way the credits are breaking down, I think the likelihood has to be around 70% that we will see another Nintendo Cube title or collaboration before the end of 2026, and if so, it's a 70% likelihood that it will be a title different from Mario Party. This being the case, while it seems plausible as a move for Nintendo to bring a new Mario Party out a little earlier into the Switch's life, the lack of any obvious gaps in the Jamboree credits suggests to me that it is a 70% likelihood that the next Mario Party will not launch before 2027, although I think there's a 90% chance it will hit by the end of 2027, as I can't see Nintendo caring to go many holiday seasons without one of their most successful titles in its lineup. If you enjoyed this deep dive, please check out others in this series on screen and consider supporting the channel on Patreon. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again for another Nintendo Forecast.